Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of week 10. In this lesson, we're going to look at strings, string methods, and string formatting in Python. My name is Mildred. In Python, we write strings in either single or double quotes. Let's say I have a variable called first name. So I write first name like this. First name is equal to a string called Mildred. Anything within quotes, single or double quotes, is called a string. So you can put double quote like this or single quote like this. We can also have multi-line text as a string. Let's say for instance we want to put something like welcome speech is equal to, and then I want to use 3 double quotes like this to start and end, and between the 3 double quotes I'm going to write all of the strings that I want to put here. So you can span those strings across multiple lines. So it can either be double quotes or single quotes like this. So we can write multi-line text here. So we'll say this is a welcome speech to illustrate how to use multi-line strings. So I want to illustrate something. If you're coming from course 1, you'll realize that in HTML, when we write strings in a paragraph like this, we need to use a line break to break where we want to. If not, it runs to the end of the screen. But in Python, it's going to respect where you ended the line and it's going to start on a new line. Let's see this. So let's say print welcome speech. When I run this, I will have it printed just the way I formatted it. We can think of strings as array of bytes where each character is a Unicode character, which means that they are indexed. Let's say the first name Mildred contains 7 characters, and indexing starts at position 0, and so we say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it ends at index 6. It starts from 0 and it ends at 6. If we want to print the character at index 6, which is D, we can do this: print first name and then square brackets, we put the index 6, and it's going to print out the letter D to the screen. Let us look at the different string methods that we have. There are lots of them. We're going to look at a few, and then in the video description I'm going to leave a link where you can read about more strings. If we want to look at the length of a string, we use a method called. So let's say we want to print out the length of first name. When I save this and I run, I'm going to have the length is 7. Let's say we want to change that to uppercase. I want to print first name, not the length, and I want to use a method called upper, and I'll say dot upper like this. And when I save this and I run, it's going to print my name Mildred in uppercase. We have another method called lower that we can use, and when I use lower, it is going to print everything in lowercase. We have another method called strip, and this removes white space character from the front and the back, so from the start and the end. So we write strip like this. So let's say we have space here and space here. So we do first name dot strip is going to print out Mildred without the space. So when I run, it's going to print out Mildred without the space. If I remove the strip, it is going to print it out with the space. If I want to say this is a name and it's all in lowercase, and I want it to make it a title, like capitalize the first letter of each word, I'm going to use a method called title like this, and this is going to capitalize each of the names like that. We have a method where we can split a string. Let's say the first name is Mildred Ojama, and I want to change this to just return only first name. I will say first name dot split. When you use split, you are splitting on something. What is between first name and last name here is a space, and so let's say I want to split on empty space like this. And so when I run this, it should print this out as an array, split them into first name and last name in a list like this. If we want to replace just the first character to uppercase, we have something called capitalize like this. I save this, I run, we have the first letter capitalized. So don't confuse capitalize with title. Title is going to put the first letter of each word in uppercase, while capitalized is going to just put the first letter of the first word in uppercase. If we have a large string like this and we want to just take part of the speech, let's say for instance we want to work on the welcome speech and we want to take part of this speech, we can use something called slicing in string, where we take part of the strings and we print out that part, or we use that part of the string. How do we slice in Python? We write slice in Python by specifying the start index, let's say 0, and then an end index, let's say 5. We're going to say the index of what? Let's say the index of the first name. So we're going to start at index 0. This is 0, which is M. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to end at 5, which is R. The last one, the last index 5 is not inclusive. So I'm going to be printing MILD R. E is not going to be inclusive. And so let's say print, save this, run, and I have that printed. If I want to get up to the end, I'm going to put this at 8. Run, and I have Mildred printed. So this is how we do slicing in Python. When we want to slice, we specify the start index and the end index. If we leave out the start index, it's going to start from the beginning and print up until the specified end index. If we leave out the end index, it's going to start from, let's say we are starting from 8 and we'll leave out the end. It's going to start from the specified start index and print up onto the end, which is what we just did. We can do negative indexing, and in this case, when we use negative indexing, let's say for instance we have index, let me do this, -7, -3. What this means is that we start from behind. We start from the third index, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So we want to print O, and we'll count to 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, not inclusive. So we're going to be printing OJO to the screen. So when I save this, let me clear here so you can see, and I run, you should see OJO printed. And so this is how we use negative slicing. So you start with the negative index, which is -3, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and then you count up to where to stop, which is -7, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so it's always the last index, or the last index is always not inclusive. And so negative slicing, remember, you count from behind, you start everything from the back. Here we have the replace method, where we can actually say I want to replace a particular name with another. Let's say I want to replace my first name with my middle name. So I can say first name dot replace, and what am I replacing? I'm replacing Mildred with Aisha. Save this, run, and I will have Aisha Ojama as the name. So look at the description in the video for more string methods that we are likely going to use. You're going to see a lot of them. I can't go through each of the string methods, but I've just shown you how to use the different methods, and you're going to come across a lot of them that you can use for various operations. Strings and string methods are important concepts that you have to understand to move forward in software development. Let's look at how to join two strings together. Let's say for instance I have the first name and then I have the last name, and now I want to have a full name. To join two strings together, we use the plus operator like this: first name plus last name. And when I come here to print full name, I'm going to have full name printed, but it's not going to have a space between them. When I save this and I run, there's no space between the first and the last name. To put a space, we're adding plus space plus last name. We can decide that we want to use the format method instead of this, and instead of writing things like this, we want to say we have the first name, we have the last name, and let's say we want to print the first name and last name in a text, and we want to use something called format. Let's say person1 is equal to the name of person is, we put 2 curly braces, and then we use dot format, and in the parentheses of the format we specify in the same order of the curly brace the variables that we want to replace this curly brace. We can put as many variables in this format string like this, and when I come here to print person 1, I should have the name of person is my full name there. I can actually index this and say 1 and 0, which means that replace this curly brace with anything at position 0 and replace this at position 1, which means that I want to change the order of this because I'm changing the positions. So at this point, when you index it, you have to make sure that the index fits the order in the format like this, and it's going to print out the same thing, which is correct. I can decide that I want to use named index. Let's say this is first as the name and this is last as the name, and then I want to say last is equal to and first is equal to, and then I'm going to run this. So I have the name of person 1 printed to the page. We can use the format like this. The more convenient one that you might likely use mostly in software development is to use a format string like this. Let's say print, and we'll put F and then a pair of quotes. The first name is first name and the last name is last name like this. We demonstrated this in previous lessons, and so when I save this, I clear here and I run, it's going to print it out. So this is a more convenient way of using the format string. We can also use formatting in a different way. So let's just do what we're trying to achieve here is to say keep 14 characters. I know 14 characters is a lot, but I'm just illustrating this. We want to keep 14 character space to insert the first name here in this curly bracket space. So it's going to print the first name of person is, and it's going to try to fill first name into the 14 characters that we have left. And so when I save this and I run, it's going to print out with the space around it to make up 14 character space. And we can use this to set different space. There are different types of formatting that we can use to do that. We can even do a left align, and when we want to do a left align, let's say we are aligning left to 8 characters, we are going to put a colon less than a number 8 like this. Save this. When I run, it's going to align it to the left with 8 characters, which doesn't make any sense because it's actually 8 characters. But if I put something like greater than 20 characters, now we're going to see the difference because it's going to align right with 20 characters like that. So I'm going to leave a description for you to look at the different string formats and how they are applied. But this is basically everything about strings and the string concept you need to know. We declare strings using single or double quotes. We can use the format string in several ways to print out to the page. We concatenate using the plus operator. We have several string methods that we can use to change how the strings are presented. And let's look at one last thing. If, for instance, we have something with a quote, let's say, for instance, here we have, let me say, welcome text is equal to welcome to Python course. And let's say I want to put Python in quotes. This is going to produce an error when I say print welcome text. I'll save this and then I will run. So we're going to have an error of invalid syntax. The reason is when Python sees this start open quotes and sees this, it sees this as the end, and then this remaining string becomes an error. We have something we call the escape character. If we have a string like this violating the rules, we put a backslash before and a backslash where it ends to stop that error, like that. The backslash should come before the end of the quote like this. So we are putting a backslash just before the violating character and a backslash here where it ends like this. So every time you have a violating character, we'll put a backslash. So this is the same as if we had a single quote. Let's say, for instance, we have a single quote and we have an apostrophe like this. This is going to violate the rule, and we're going to have the same kind of error we had with the double quote. At this point, before the violating character, we put a backslash and it removes the error. So this is what we do when we have characters that violate a rule or that is going to confuse the syntax, we use an escape character indicated by a backslash in Python. So this is where we end this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to look at different operators in Python, and then we are going to look at the Boolean. Thank you and see you in the next lesson.